Let's go live again, trying it out. Why not? Okay, so I think I'm live, possibly? Oh yes, okay. Hi, this is Sasha, and today I'm experimenting again with live streaming because I get to learn things, and I want to tangle my Emacs config snippets to different files and add boilerplate because I want to make it easier for other people to copy the functions, and also for me to write smaller tests instead of loading my entire Emacs configuration. It would be nice to be able to write tests that can run in batch mode that can just focus on like one chunk at a time. So in Prot's configuration, he includes each library in full in a single code block each. Which I think is a level of organization that I am not yet ready for. I don't mind having all my different defuns and defars and other things like that scattered throughout my configuration files. My large configuration document, which is the source of my blog post exports and also it's a web page that people can look at. So he's very organized. He's got all of this stuff, like for example, all of the abrev related stuff is in just this code block here. And if we look at the source code, it's not even tangled out of anything else. I think it's really just like that. So let's take a look at how he does this stuff in this emacs.d, in his prot-emacs.org, in his raw file. Something's like it's justified. Anyway, okay, we were looking at prot abrev, which is actually like it's here. The whole thing is just straight in there, and I'm guessing what he does is maybe he goes to the file and tangles it again to create this, or goes, if he uses find function. Maybe has some way of propagating the changes back using org babel to tangle or whatever. Anyway, it's there. It's one big chunk. But my functions are all over the place because they're all in things like this. And what I want to do is I want to gradually move them into their own files. So in order to do that, I want to tangle them using these tangle keywords, and that says move this Emacs list block or write it to this file lisp/my-org-bookmarks.el, and then I can use user-lisp-directory to generate autoloads for and byte-compile all the files within this Lisp subdirectory. But I also wanted to have all the niceties that that Prot has in his library, to make it look and act like a regular Emacs library. So in this case, for example, he starts off with this comment that has the file name and has a brief description, someday I'm going to put that in, and the lexical binding cookie to tell Emacs Lisp it's paying attention to where the things are defined at the time that we're running it. Things like the author and the URL and all of that stuff. And the way he does it in his config is he actually has this block of text repeated in each area, in each source block that gets tangled to those specific files. But because my file is made up of all these little snippets that have this tangle, I could either put in all of that explanation at the top, and just copy and paste it. It's kind of annoying. I can use NoWeb to cut down on some of the repeated things like the GPL, the new public license. Okay, so a little bit of backtracking here. The way that org tangling works is it goes through your source file, your org mode source, and it exports the blocks in the order that it sees them. So if I want things in a certain order, I have to put the commentary comments at the top, and then have all the rest of my blocks, and then have whatever I want at the bottom, which I kind of want to jump straight into the meat of things when it comes to my config, and then just have everything magically sorted out. So after a little bit of thinking, and here in the blog post that I will eventually post to go along with this, I've put that in this my details section, so you can like hide it or not, up to you. It's like, okay, I can either tangle the blocks in order, or I can use no web. But if I use no web with no web ref, then I lose the nice comments that I get. I should show you the comments. Basically, if you use comments link, then you get these lovely comments, which let you jump back to the file or even the section that define this block. So that is nice. I want to keep that so that if I make changes in the Emacs Lisp file, I can have it go back with org babel detangle to the original org mode configuration. So all that is cool. But if I use no web to do things out of order, to include this stuff out of order, so that I don't have to have all the preamble in the beginning of my very long org file, then I lose those comments. And I could probably make up something that tangles things specifically and add the link comments, but it's a bit of a mess. However, what I found out is that you can use a hook. Org babel tangle has a hook, which I found out by reading the source code of org babel tangle. And there's an org babel post tangle hook that gets called from each each file that gets tangled. And let me show you actually how it works. Org babel tangle here. Let's jump to the definition. There's probably something here. What did I have for jumping the definition of this? Okay, fine. Control HF, actually find function, org babel tangle. There you go. Okay, so this is org babel tangle. And once it runs all that stuff, it runs org babel post tangle hook in all the tangled files. It basically creates a temporary, it creates a buffer that's visiting the file, and it runs that. So if I want to add that commentary, I can do it like this with this stuff over here, and probably I should do things like adding a copyright. So let's go over to his stuff and let's think about all the things I should be including to make it look like a regular thing here. So definitely not him, of course. This is me. And actually, what I probably want to do here is I want to say, let's just make that, there's no version, and no packages requires at the moment. I'll figure out eventually how to do that, but that's there. Okay, so what I need here is, there's the base. I don't have a description yet. Someday I will. There's extra commentary, but so let me take this part out over here, and the URL. So there's author, which is, I can make this based on user full name and the user mail address. Yes, mail address and URL. That's a good question. Do I have my Emacs config URL yet? Oh, no, I don't. Okay. All right, let's add a def for it. My Emacs config URL. /com.emacs. I thought I have something like this already. Let me go see. /com.emacs. Oh, I guess I don't. Okay, so now I have a config URL that has that. And so, if I say this is my post-tangle insert boilerplate for my Lisp, then if I've got my file here that's being tangled, let's go find a file that needs to be tangled to a my something. Lisp yeah, this one over here. Okay. So let's say I tangle this file after a little bit of time, because I have a very large file, it should theoretically put that information in. Oh, of course, there's actual, I need to actually evaluate all of these things. Let's narrow this so that it can work a lot faster. Not enough arguments for format string. Aha. Okay, so now I start looking at this. Base is this one. This is the commentary. We've got the user full name. We've got the user mail address. Haha. I need to actually say my Emacs config URL in here. Here we go. That's what I'm missing. And then the commentary, if there is. All right, so now it runs this. Ta-da! So now we have the beginning has a comment with my blog EL. I don't have a description yet. I'll get to that soon. The commentary is blank because my info over here is still blank. But there's a code and then there's a comment that links to the thing. So I could say org babel jump to org, and it will, or actually I can also use the global like open link at point thing, and it should eventually find it. I wonder why. There's probably some kind of delay things that I need to figure out. Anyway, ta-da! So, okay, so what did that do? This is a org babel post tangle hook that goes in to the tangled file and adds this extra stuff. Now, what I really want to do, and I'm very close to figuring it out, is I want to have, okay, so if I reorganize my config so that it goes through all the different things. Wait, I'm making like hand gestures here. I need, let's see if I can get a webcam thing going here. Let's go add a webcam. Ooh, I'm getting all professional here. Video source. Video capture device? Add existing webcam. Is that the webcam I want? No, it is not. Okay, I will fiddle with this webcam thing. Actually, maybe, no, delete that. Remove. I am now getting sidetracked because I want to be able to make hand gestures when I'm talking about stuff. Okay, first I need a video capture device maybe, and I need to Logitech webcam, assuming this works. And which one is it? It is the other video camera. Okay, I'm gonna worry about that later. No hand gestures for now. Tough luck. Okay, yes, so I'm reorganizing my config so that it's not just tangling to one huge Emacs Lisp file. I want to have lots of Emacs Lisp files that have just the function definitions and other associated def vars and things like that, so that if people wanted to, they could include that in order to use some of my functions. And at the same time, I wanted to link to, I want to be able to point people to the places in the larger config file that have this information. So, where am I? And also I kind of want, actually I want to change everything to start with Lisp/Sasha blog, maybe Sasha blog or Sasha C blog, instead of using the my prefix, because otherwise I'm going to mess up other people's namespaces for their my functions. Okay. All right. Diff. This is going to be a mess. Okay, one thing at a time. Let's do the linking first because I'm excited about that part. Okay, here we go. Let's back up. Okay, so you see how it's starting to take shape over here. I have some code now that determines the link for the section at point, and it collects the link for the tangled files. And what I want to do here actually is I want to define my org format links. No, actually I have that already here. So this is what it does. It goes through all the blocks. There's an org babel map source blocks. It goes through all the blocks in the file. It looks for the section that it's related with and the file that it's targeting to tangle to, and it makes a list that has the section link and the name of it sorted by module so that I can then have this index of all the different places in my very large config file that that tangle to this module. And what I actually want to do here is I want to save this information in a cache because it takes a little while to go through the whole list. And what I want to do here is I want to have an index in my literate config file so that people can click on it and to kind of go through my config. But also, I want to include this in my commentary so that even in the exported files, there are links that people can go to in order to find all the blog posts or sections that are related to something. And theoretically, like a little bit of it is available if you look at the .el. Like there's a reference here, and if you checked it out, you could actually say org global. Oh, open a point global. You could say org open a point global, and it would go to that. But just in case you're browsing this off the web or doing something else, it could be fun to include the links directly in this commentary section on the left side. So how do I do that? Let's go take a look at my config. Okay, so here I want to, instead of just evaluating the whole thing, I actually want to make this the links. Okay, let links up defar my Emacs config module links cache for links from tangled files. Okay. So then it'll be easy to play with later. All right. Okay. So then I'm going to demarcate this block. It just splits it, copying the header. Very handy function. You can steal it from my config somewhere. You know what I should do? So I should probably have the keycast mode? Keycast header mode. Yeah. Okay. So now what I'm doing is going to be up here, so you can see what command I just called. And then, so if I have this is silent. I don't need to have the whole list here. It does the thing. And then here I can say, okay, if I just want the list of links, that's that. It's a little bit faster. Okay, and then what I want to do actually is I want to make this info. Where is this? You see how I've got this? Hang on a second. Let me just raw kind of just inserts everything. Okay, and oh, I need this index. I need to give it a name so it's easier to replace it. My Emacs config index by module. And this is useful because sometimes I don't actually follow the outline for it. Like for example, embark blocks tend to be scattered all over my config, wherever they make sense. There's a double here. Is it the same? Yeah. Okay. So my equal here. So I have a CL push new here, which apparently doesn't check enough if it's equal, which means I need a test. What's a test? Equal. Does equal give it the right test? So my challenge there was I had a duplicate entry because the equal was not checking whether an A-list had it, whether the list had consoles with a URL in the title and whether those were equivalent to each other, it is now correctly doing it. So yeah, see, so now I have my Hydra and it doesn't repeat the Hydra keyboard shortcuts because it only needs one entry. I don't need to have it say things again and again. All right, so now I have my Emacs config module links, and what I want to do here is I want to modify the my Emacs config info so that it has a commentary that takes advantage of that. And the way that I can do that is I can say this is the variable that I need, and I'm going to need to set the commentary for it. Map car of the what is that other function, the other variable over here? It's this my Emacs config module links. That one. This is also a tangle. No, I only need it when I'm exporting. I'll never export. So here, what I want to do here is I want to lambda the group, and this is actually a car of the group. Is that? Hang on a second. Config module links. What am I expecting here? Assoc default base. So the base should be the same as the start of it, and in fact it is. So that's all good. That's normal already. And then I want to have a commentary here. So this is like cons, not list. Okay. Oh, you know what? We'll just, yeah, okay. And then I need it to say, okay, I want it to be commentary. And then I need a list of CDR group here. Oh, this is actually a map concat. And then it's separated by spaces. And then this is a link, which is it's kind of like org link make string, car link, and CDR link. But what I actually want to do is I want to export it to HTML. So this is more like an org export as export string as, yeah. And this is my thing. Actually, I don't want to export this to HTML. I want to export it as ASCII. Okay, so map concat, export this. This is, does this require text or symbols? I need to add a note here that says what it is. Oh yeah, okay, so it says it's a symbol. All right, so I want to export it as ASCII, and also I want to add can I just add a prefix to all the string? Fine, I'm just going to replace regex. Replace regex bin string. I need to replace all the starting parts of the line with the comment character. And then I think this could be interesting. Let's see what it does. Close, but not what I want. Org link make string. Oh yeah, definitely body only. Yes. And export string as, yes, ASCII, body only. Okay. I also want the links. So I need to double check that I'm getting the link out of this correctly. Yeah, okay. Ah, you know what it is. So that's good. That's what I want. That's correct. However, I need to make sure my .emacs link can handle ASCII nicely. So here's my .emacs export. I don't want it just to output the description. I want it to output the description followed by the link. Probably that makes sense. And this one can now use my config. What's it called? My config, Emacs config URL. That's better. My org.emacs export. Okay. So going all the way back. Theoretically, let's see what that gets me now. Yeah, no, I just need I'm missing right. I am missing this sign to make it go to the anchor. Okay, let's go see. So now I make a whole bunch of commentary. There you go. And let's go see what it works. Let's go see what it does. So if I'm here in my sash.org and I go to a Tangle somewhere, if I Control-C, Control-V, Control-T, and I look at this file, my commentary does not have it. Okay, what's going on? Commentary. Alright, step 1. Does it have the structure I am expecting? Yes. Step 2. Is it retrieving the information that I want? That is a good question. Let's go find out. So let's narrow this to make it faster. So we're here. Okay, my org bookmarks. Base. Oh, this modules info over here. You see how it is not actually using the correct one. Hello, Krister. Krister8964 says hello. I am actually, like, I've got the chat open and everything. I can actually read stuff. Hello to you too. And to everyone else who's quietly keeping me company as I wave my hands invisibly going through this. Okay, so Emacs config modules information just needs the actual modules info base name. It needs to be indexed by this base name over here. So this is actually file name base. All right, let's go see if that does the thing. Yeah, okay. All right, so now I think this is the, yep, roughly close enough. And then oh yeah, okay. I want the sec keep to happen here actually. Sec filter. There you go. How long does it take to start Emacs with my big config file? Is the question Krister has. I I don't know. A little bit of a while. Usually, I just let it start up at the beginning of my session and then leave my computer running and just suspend it and resume it. So the only time I get really grumpy about my Emacs starting up is when I'm trying to use Bug Hunter to narrow down an issue in my config, and then I have to actually wait for Emacs to load up again and again, and then it gets annoying. But most of the time, I just leave it alone because really, I subscribe to the idea of just leaving Emacs running the whole time. So I actually don't know how long my very large config file takes. I do tangle it so that I don't have to go through the whole org babel, evaluate the thing as an org file in the beginning. I just tangle it and load the EL file directly. But this shift to splitting it out into things that I can stick into a user-lisp-directory for byte compiling will make it even faster, I'm sure. There are some people who have really fancy setups for deferring a lot of loading so that the Emacs starts up super fast. But I'm not that organized. Okay, so anyway, now my Emacs config module links should it's a little too, because I have a when in here left over from the string keep. I actually want that to be just a string match there. Okay. Yes. Okay, that's what I want. All right, and then the commentary. So in that case, I don't have to keep this. I can just map car this one because I don't need this when anymore. All right, and then over here, now I want to put that together as commentary for the different tangled files. So yeah, okay, and then this becomes that file. Very good. Let's set up the functions for tangling the boilerplate. Yeah, it actually gets that. Ooh, I'm so happy. Voice command is awesome. Okay, so this is the thing that actually does it. And Chabam says, never closing Emacs. This is the way. This is in fact the way. Yes, I agree. I mean, why would you ever want to close Emacs? So you know everything in it. That edebug error means I have left this as an edebug somewhere. Where am I debugging? Something. Oh, where am I? Here we go. I need to actually evaluate that. Okay, and then I should just make an indirect buffer here. Okay. All right. Clone indirect buffer other window. That way it can just stay in the bookmark without this weird in and out. Okay, and then I was going to the thing here, execute the subtree. Okay. Yes. So, did it now show up in the right place? Let's go see. No, it did not. Okay, let's go find out why. Step 1, is my Emacs config modules info? Yeah. No. I want more than that. Why is that only that? Oh, it's because maybe I was narrowed. Or collect links for tangled files must of course include everything. And then or config module, Emacs config modules info can include everything, which it does. And actually what I want to say here is related blog posts. Concat related blog posts. There you go. Related Emacs config sections. Oh, the kiddo sounds like she's on recess. There's a lot of stumping around. Ah, I'm so close though. Okay, let's go see if I can get this working. What commentary do I get out of this? My org bookmarks? Yes. Yeah, that's what I want. All right, I think we're on this. We got this right. Look at that! Look at that! See, now my commentary has related Emacs context sections, and you can open bookmarks, and you can go over here, and it will have the thing, roughly. And sometimes it'll have other stuff, except I've accidentally, is that me? Have I accidentally, oh, did I accidentally replace regex, the whole thing? Let's go see what happened there. Insert, replace regex in string, yeah, replace regex in string. Oh no, okay, it was just me. User error. Oh, for some reason this stuff over here is getting commented out. That's not what I expect. Did I miss something? It's by when I define the org bookmark file. Yeah, that's it. Oh, you know what I need? No. I'm confused. Okay. Alright. Okay, so I want to insert it, yes. First, my buffer string. Okay. Can I switch to buffer current buffer? Oh, no. My org bookmarks DL. Ah, that's weird. It's not supposed to be doing that. Okay. Abort. Let's try that again. So, we're here. Revert this buffer. Yes. That's not right. The Tangle itself was unhappy. Okay, let's remove my hook. That's a nice thing about using this hook. I can just remove it. Okay. And then if I tangle this, it should just be the same now. That's correct. Alright. Now, I add the hook back. But I make it not do anything. Okay, that's good so far. Yes. Now, okay, that's good. That's normal so far. Oh, okay, I guess it was just a temporary hiccup because now it's working fine. Eee, I'm so excited. All right, okay, so what this is I have, so to sum it up, I have a very large Emacs configuration file. It used to tangle to just one file, which meant that anyone who loaded that file would have my function definitions as well as the things that actually configure Emacs to behave differently. I would like to make it easier for other people to copy my function definitions without necessarily overwriting, stomping on all of their configuration with my configuration. So now I have a thing that cross-references all these individual blocks that get tangled to different files into a thing, which is exciting. Okay, so I can move this thing here, index. This deserves to be its own thing, and probably it makes sense to have this as an index. Okay, so I take this whole thing and I put that somewhere at the end. Index of sections by module. This uses code defined in, that's right, alarms, not very alarming alarms. Okay, that was my Emacs config. All right, I need a link to that one, and I need this, do I not have a .emacs link capture here? Oh, it doesn't have a custom ID yet, that's why. Okay, custom IDs, add the custom IDs. So, assign custom IDs, there you go. All right, Krister says, I installed whisper.cpp on my NVIDIA Orlando, wanted to have voice-to-words thing you showed a few weeks ago. It is really cool to have speech recognition working in Emacs. I really like it. I have this like thing now that lets me organize Emacs news links by voice, which is a lot easier actually than doing it with keyboard shortcuts. Anyway, okay, did one .emacs, and there you go. So I can do things like aside from of course dictating into text, I've also been really liking expanding yes snippet by voice, and that's just like so cool. Because here, let me show you how that works. Yeah, assuming it still works. Okay, define interactive function. It does the thing! Isn't that so cool? And I like this so much more than the way that I used to do it, which was, I could type dfi and I press tab and it does the thing, but that means I have to think, okay, define interactive function, and I had to think, okay, that's a letter D, F, and I, and I have to translate that to fingers. But if I just have that going, then it'll just do the thing automatically. And also, if I work it into some kind of wake word detection someday, eventually, I don't even have to press my keyboard shortcut to do it, which will be great. But anyhow, what I wanted to do today was create a list of these things. And now I want to say, you can index of sections by module. Oh, but you know what my index of sections by module should do here? So let me add yeah. I have index. This is not what I want. This is what I want here. Instead of just having this, I should have it as a link, of course, to the file. That would make sense, right? Okay, so org link make string file lisp %l, format that, file name base of car O, and ta-da! Now it links to the file because we can do that. All right, so now I have this. I want to link to the sections by module. Emacs module. What did I call it again? That should have auto-completed, but for some reason it isn't. So I'm just going to do it manually. Index of sections by module. There you go. Okay. So he's got this early init.el. So I should maybe try that too. Tangle early init.el. Okay, so then it tangles the whole thing, probably, and it goes and puts it in various places. I'm so excited. So theoretically, it does mean that whenever I update things, I need to rerun this, and probably it would be easier if I module info Emacs, which is module links, if I make it easy to update that somewhere. I know, I can just name it update my Emacs config module links. And that's the main one I need to, and info, right? Okay, yeah, that should be pretty straightforward. So now I think, can I just call this as a call? Syntax of call. I think if that's a syntax for the call. Do not remember the syntax for a call. Call. Do I have? Working with source code. I need to call it, evaluating it. Call, name and arguments. Yes, that is what I want. Call. Yes. Wrong argument. String p nil. Toggle? Debugging? Can I find out? Yes. File name directory. Does not affect a tangled file name. There's no buffer file name if I do it like that. You know what I can do? I can put it in another function, and then I can just use Emacs Lisp to call it directly. Good plan. So instead of this call here, I'm going to elisp it to say my Emacs config update module info. Okay. All right. Okay, define interactive function. Emacs config update module info. All right, so update the list of links. There you go. And that means I can actually stick this, because it's now a defun, into this part over here. And then I can just call it. Okay, so whenever I tangle, I need to do this, which adds one step to my tangling process. Is there like a pre-tangle hook? Oh yeah, there is naturally an org babel pre-tangle hook. So what I want to do is I want to say before tangling, if I'm in. So there are a couple options. I can cache it, or I can stick it in the thing. Let's just do it all the time first. Okay, define function. String match, okay. All right, so then I can take this and I can say add hook org babel pre-tangle hook. And really, like, if I wanted to be fancy about it, I would add it to an org mode hook so that it only happens if the file is named that. So spam, phishing actually, phone call. Nobody actually really calls me, so it's fine. Here we go. To do someday. So it should kind of go through the thing. Ooh, you hear me super low. Oh, I better check my volume. Testing. Can you hear me better now? Testing 1, 2, 3. Atesh says that they hear me super low. Do other people have audio issues? Anyway, let me know in the chat. I'm just going to keep on going because I want to make the most of the hour or so that I have before the kiddo comes out for lunchtime. She has apparently survived recess independently. Okay, so now I have boilerplate, and I think it will try to remember to do it if I'm tangling. Probably it makes sense to cache it, but let's just calculate it each time. Okay, all right. I'm glad that Atesh's audio is all sorted out now. I did increase the volume in my end, so probably this all works. Okay, where was I? I am now going back and adding all of those tangle thingies. So begin source. So I need to find all my begin sources that don't already have a tangle. Begin source Emacs list. Yeah, okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm sticking these things into those separate files because then theoretically somebody else could use them. Oh, and also some, theoretically, I can write tests. So here I am looking for things that are not use package, things that are defuns. Oh, here probably. This one, for example. Origin bracket, settling target with search. This part over here is the autoload. Alright. So here I've added a tangle directive, and I've added that as well. That part is done actually, so that's cool. And then I think I had a S for stream, was that? Yes, S for stream. Now let's see if my switching to the next stream task makes sense. I would like to make org agenda faster with my very large file. It probably involves using orgql. In the meantime, everyone can take a stretch break. Here we go. All right. We were here. I was reorganizing my configuration so that my defuns are tangled as separate files. Because Plot is doing it. So I want to give it a try. All right. So this is what I'm doing. Huh. Naturally, I lost where I was. Okay. Tangle. All right. Here we go. Yeah, this looks like it's about right. Yep, that's got tangles in it. That needs tangling also. Here we are. This is going to, that probably goes into org. I don't even have proper prefixes on this, but my first goal is just to get everything out. Demarcate that. So, okay, now I'm moving into the just reorganizing part of things, which is a good excuse for me to go and actually look at the things again. There's that. I think I need to set up the autoloads for the different functions that I include in links. Demarcate that too. Well, I guess this is actually more of an org thing. And that's not tangled because it actually said stuff. And that should happen only after with the file after. Okay. All right. This can go to my blog collection. Let's turn them all into autoloaded functions. Yeah. And then this one goes into embark, maybe? But not here. Demarcate that. So I'm doing the separation between things that just define functions, which maybe anyone can load, and things that actually modify Emacs's behavior, which people want to do a little bit more thoughtfully. And eventually, someday I will have like wonderful dev customs and whatnot for this. But just as a starting point, you know, could be helpful. Demarcate that block, take that out, and then it's kind of nice going back over all my old stuff. Eventually, I want to go back and re-export all of these, and then include links to various things, a little bit at a time. Copy subtree. Oh, that feels like an org thing. That is a really long line. Can I just break that up into something slightly more readable? All right. Mark it. Alright, my blog org files accept reviews. What is that even? Oh, probably blog. Excuse me. Font matter my org. I feel like my org 11 TTY also has like this whole thing that it can do. My blog. Tasker. Wow, stick in an org. It's been a while since I've used this. This is a goes into like org export, sure. Oh yeah, I decided I don't actually need this. I'll sign out anyway. You know, my org. This my org subtree without blocks and my org simplified text is quite helpful for my language learning stuff. Which I think actually I've copied over to my org subtree. LearnLang. I'll worry about that later. Actually, let's do it now. LearnLang subtree text. I will worry about that later. So once again, we split this so that this is the one that goes into and I want all of these to have the autoloads. Yeah, so this allows me to include files with by referring to the references in name and chunks and stuff like that. My org also. EPUB. My org export. And then demarcate this. I don't need a with it. I can just go straight and add that after that. Copy linked file and change link. Let's go see. And then I need to split that again here. Demarcate that block. I used my org insert screenshot a lot. I'd like to use it even more. Add more stuff to my screenshots. Oh yeah, that's handy too. Copy last screenshot to file, insert in org. This is actually more of a my image thing, I think. I had this my org capture prefill template. At some point I should go over this and see what I need to update. Export. I had an apps shortcut? Huh. Wonder what that was about. Which key is that even? It's not this one. I found that. Oh, maybe it is. No, I found it the super. I don't know if I have an apps key now. Someday. Level this particular. Huh. Okay. Oops. Org export. Actually, maybe that's org. In general, instead of use package org, I can say with val after load org. It's just slightly neater. I don't need the whole setup for that. Oh yeah, this is where I set that up. Okay, so that's definitely this. And I want to tangle it to my org export. And I want to take these. Yeah, it was very nice. I can just add a summary keyword to my Emacs Lisp source blocks, and it gets shoved into a details element so that you don't have to see it when you're reading. You can just skim the article and see, and then you can expand it if you want. Oh yeah, checkboxes. Do I still need this? Don't think this was a thing anymore. Huh. Do I? What do I even have in this? Oh, I'm not using it. Just delete it. Where's my next defun here? Yeah, this is going to need to change. Oop. Why didn't that indent nicely? Ooh. My org export. No, just my org. Web? Oh, this is actually summary here. Oops. My org. maybe I can probably strip these out into their own little ones. Oops. That way all the different link types can have their own files. This is my video link type. Handy enough. I should probably periodically actually Tangle update module info. So Freddie has a question. Tangled in separate files, so each file acts like as a library. Is that right? That is exactly right. I have, as mentioned, a very large configuration file that defines things like all sorts of custom org link types and whatever. And right now, if people want to copy stuff, you have to actually copy the code block, which, you know, I've added some things to help with. Like there's a copy code thingy over here that you can theoretically click on to select the whole thing over there. But since manually copying and pasting this stuff means that you don't get to, you know, pull any updates from my Git repository or whatever, I want to break it out into individual Lisp files that people can evaluate without necessarily stumping on the rest of their config. Someday I might even rename them out of the my prefix to make it Sasha prefix instead. But it's just for starting point, you know. Could be a good way to get started with this. Oh, this is actually called demarcate block. My org video time. This is V time. Yeah, okay. Could be fun. Insert item advice. And then this gets demarcated and put in. Oh yes, I wanted to see if I do tangle it, does it actually work? Can I start an Emacs that use it? Okay, Christer has a question. Is there a way to have a list what you want active instead of commenting away whole blocks? Do you mean actually let me try to clarify my understanding here. Do you mean saying not to evaluate or tangle a thing? So in general, I want all the blocks in my config to default to active, but for some things I can say tangle no if it's inactive. Here, see, for example, there's eval no and tangle no. So for the blocks that I don't want to do, then I can have that there. But if your setup is the other way around and you want things to be mostly disabled unless you specifically enable them, then you could do something like that with this header args argument, header args property, which lets you define various header args for your source blocks as defaults, and you can always override them with specific block ones. So for example, if you want to say, yeah, tangle no and eval no, and then just override the ones that you want, you can certainly do that. Is that sort of what you meant? I should periodically check if the whole thing still tangles. It takes a little while to do, but we'll go see. Okay, theoretically. So if I look in my, I wonder what that is, but okay. If I look in my Lisp directory, I should see a whole bunch of files. Yeah. And all of these should have interesting. Well, so Krister asks, let's say I want to turn off my func blah blah blah, then I comment out every line. But if the func was in a list, then I could on and off what I want. Still trying to understand here. If, like, do you mean not defining the function? In general, like, I find that if I define a function and I just don't use it, that's fine. I can just leave it in there defined. If it's a function in a hook, then I can just remove the item from the hook. So here, for example, insert that point. Whisper, insert text at point. Okay, I have this a list of functions which gets run whenever I record speech and have it transcribed. And if I wanted to remove something from it, I can just comment it out and reevaluate. So this is the idea of a hook, or a variable that includes a list of functions. And you can use add hook or remove hook to manage this list, or you can even just set queue it, or you can use edit list, which is this fun thing, edit list. You can also, use edit list to edit it. And so that's how I turn on and off functions from this list of hooks. There are a lot of hooks. I usually find them by digging through the source code, but if you press Ctrl-H-V, this is described variable, then you can start, just even looking at hook. So for example, if I'm looking at all the org mode related hooks, there are a lot of different things that you can hook into to make things happen before or after different events, depending on whatever people have anticipated. Is there like a mark consult? Oh, there is a consult mark. Okay. Can I? Haha. Okay. This is great. I can just go backwards to try to remember what I was doing. Let's consult global mark. Okay. Here we are. So now we're org audio. Oh yes. So theoretically, my stuff here should have. So for example, this my org, I expect. Ooh, okay. That is needing some. You know what it needs? I need to have it as a list. Okay. Yes. My commentary when I tangle it. Commentary. It needs stuff. Commentary. Related Emacs config section. Concat. I need to make it a list so that it's nice and neat. Otherwise, it becomes this big mess, right? Okay. All right. So yeah, so Krister, if you're interested in modifying the behavior of Emacs with a list of functions that can run in different situations, hooks are the word you're going to look for in the manual. What is this? Why is this thing asking for? Wait for headers change. Turn request finished. Turn. What do I even have that has turn mode on? Anyway, look! Now it's slightly more understandable. Maybe instead of like just an enter, I can make it. Let me think. That's a good question. Okay, so I want the organizing string, but maybe I could use it like a new line. Maybe a new line would be easier to read. More paragraphs. That's interesting. External. I think I had a thing that says my link. The thing that says get the external version of the link. Can I just would this be more readable? Let's go see if this is more readable. Where is this coming from? Why is it asking for? Okay. Revert buffer. Yes. Oops. Nil. Concat. Boop. Oh, it's my export. It needs a little bit of help. .emacs in my .emacs export here. .emacs export. If desk otherwise, just give me the path. There. So now I am trying to see if I can get the commentary to look nicer. Like I feel like that I'm not entirely sure why some of them have new line escapes and some of them don't. Let's go see what they translate to, I guess. It's not like I'm double escaping that. Well, I guess we'll find out. It's still not doing the new line thing. Commentary. Concat. Export string S. can't call it, of course, from the thing. I have to call it from where this is. Okay. Okay, that's not right. Why? Reload, yes, and dot even. Okay, yes. Org export string as ASCII T. Why? Oh, duh. I actually need to force the line break. Right. Org links are like that. There you go. So the // at the end of backslash. The backslash at the end of the line forces the line break to stay in the list when it's exported. Nice. Okay, so now I can update module info. Or actually, it would have been automatically done when I tangle anyway. Yes, that works. And then I can Control-C, Control-V, Control-T. Let's go to tangle everything, and then we'll see how it all works. Stack Overflow and regex matcher. What? Abort. That's the first time I've seen that error. Oh no, now it's doing the thing. Mostly the thing. At some point I will go figure out what's going on there, but the important thing is... There you go. Slightly better. You know what would be even nicer? Another new line. Let's add another new line. I think that works. So excited. I haven't actually checked if this loads with my new setup. I probably should do that. So this is what it came up with. So, you know, look, it's byte compiling all this stuff automatically and complaining about various things and generating my autoloads. And then stuff is happening. And probably theoretically everything is fine. Whee! Exciting. Okay. Reasonable. Things are oh, well, I should find out if my functions are still available. Here, let's find something that's supposed to be tangled to something. Consult mark. Where was I last? GM. Fine. Tangle Lisp. Okay, so I expect there to be a my org bookmarks. Yes, and there is in my new Emacs that's loaded with my split stuff. Okay, so we can continue. Where are we? Here we are. So this one, I want to tangle this to list my Emacs. And seems like it's handy. And this one needs to be autoloaded as well. Actually, this is the one that needs autoloaded because that's the one that's on the hook. Close enough. Okay. And this one is also on a hook. And this is the one that actually codes. Alright, progress is being made. With val after load org. Okay, so I need to demarcate this, and then I stick this in coding. All right, back on track. This is pretty good progress, actually. Almost there. Here we are. My org project. Do dev macros need oh, captions. My org captions. Demarcate. Oops. Okay, I think I'm back on track. And that's all config. Oh yeah, there, my org link as URL. That's the thing that I was looking for earlier. Alright, I've got 10 minutes before lunch break for the kiddo. I'm halfway through my config file according to this scroll thing over there. Oh, my consult has got a bunch of things. That's definitely, it needs its own file. So my goal here is, at the end of this, my session.el should not contain any defuns. Should all be shoved into various files. I should write about my org protocol stuff. That should be its own defun. Freddy says, all my use packages are in init.el, all my defuns are in one library file. I should have also organized them better. Yeah, so I'm basically skipping all the defuns in one library file thing and just going straight to all my defuns are all over lots and lots of files, just because I know that other file would be really, really long. But that's the basic idea. Yes. My org export. Stick them to random places. Org. Direct buffer for the file links in the selected region. Okay. Huh. Interesting. What did I even? I'll just put it in my org for now. My org get links in region turns out to be very helpful, because then you can have it open all the links in region, for example. Oh, this is another protocol thing. Oops. Okay, I might have some defuns in here because I have this and it refers to a Hydra, and that's very much my config. Elsie has a question. Hi Sasha, do you ever use or try other configs in your tiers and need to share parts? In other words, config bits, not a functionality packaging code, with your literate first setup. I haven't actually tried other configs just because at this point it's a little hard to translate this accretion of things, of little tweaks that I have to something polished like Doom Emacs. Very tempting, very curious about all those things, but mostly I just end up stealing ideas and putting them in my config somewhere. But theoretically, if I do this, start of refining my config and separating it from the functionality definition, maybe it might be possible for me to then say, okay, you know, I'm going to translate some of the config and try out maybe with that this command line argument for changing my startup directory, my config directory. Maybe give one of those other things a try to see what I've been missing out on. So yeah, I don't think I even use Hydra anymore. So I'll just keep this as is for now. Ooh, my journal stuff, yeah. My journal. Okay, what do I tend to use here? You know what? I'm just going to put everything as an autoload for now. Autoloads are fine, right? We can have lots of autoloads. It's okay. This my JSON request is pretty helpful. It's also the same as please get, so it's not too bad. So this is just baby steps trying to reorganize my config at this point. Someday, who knows? Okay, and then I change this to with eval after load of org. Then I can remove that part over here. And I have a lot of journal related stuff. It's great. Okay, I'm going to wrap up now because the kid is going to be out for lunch very soon. But thank you all for hanging out with me. I had a lot of fun getting my list of blog posts, and actually more like list of configuration URLs, into the commentary of the boilerplate in the Tangled files. And I'm 52% of the way through my very large org file to try to split this up into other things, which apparently do actually do the byte compiling and autoloading thing. I'm so excited. I will probably be around again tomorrow morning, maybe later, I don't know. But eventually we'll settle into some kind of habit. I will see you all next time. Thank you.